The Blast Awesome Major has finally arrived, and after 3 stages of upsets and busted pick'ems, the final 8 teams are locked in. I'll be breaking down my full playoff pick'em bracket, who's going through each round, where the upsets might happen, and who I got winning the Blast Austin Major. But first, let's go ahead and recap how I did in Stage 3. Here are my picks for Stage 3, and the final standings showed that I got 6 right: Spirit 3-0, Namiga 0-3, FaZe, NAVI, Mouz, and MongolZ to go through. Biggest storylines from this stage was Vitality losing to Legacy in that best of 1, ending their streak, and that was crazy because 100% of people probably most likely had Vitality in that other 3-0 slot here, with FURIA actually going 3-0. So shout out to FURIA. They dominated Stage 3 group here. Meanwhile, on the opposite end, Liquid went 0-3. I'm actually not surprised because they looked really bad at Dallas, and then also NA collectively played horrible this major. Aurora was a shocker being eliminated because they consistently made all the playoffs for all the tournaments that they attended this season, so horrible performance from Aurora. Legacy had a Cinderella run end, and they should have actually beaten Mouz if you watched that game. They had a huge lead on Inferno Nuke on maps 2 and 3, but the pressure got to them. But still, amazing result from Legacy and also Lin Vision in this stage. And lastly, Pain Gaming slipping through. Nobody believed in Pain, and they were able to do it. I currently have the silver coin, and despite failing stages 1 and 2, I just need to complete 3 more of these pick'em challenges on the left here, and if I get them right, I will be upgraded to the gold coin, which is very doable. With these souvenir claims, make sure you're not using them on the stage matches. Instead, claim your souvenirs in the playoff matches, because with this update a couple weeks ago, the souvenirs inside the playoff matches are going to have highlight packages. So there's going to be clips of highlights with these souvenirs, and they're going to be worth way more than these stages. Before I show you my playoff picks, here's a quick word from today's sponsor, Skins Monkey. They are one of the best and easy to use CS2 trading sites. You can instantly switch out your skins you don't want by selecting them, and then pick out the new skins you do want that are so much nicer. You can also buy skins much cheaper with a 35% total deposit bonus using code NART, and I'm giving you a free $5 on your trade. Use the link down below in the description. FURIA versus Pain, Brazilian Derby. A lot of people did not have both teams qualifying to the playoffs, and they proved a lot of people wrong, and they completed their goal. So if you realistically asked them what their goal was before the major started, I'm sure both teams would say to qualify to the playoffs. This is a rematch from Stage 2 in a best of 1 where Pain edged FURIA in a very close match, 13-11 on Dust 2, and it came down to the last couple rounds where Pain was able to pull off an eco round on FURIA, and then they were able to close it out. This time around, it's going to be a different result. First off, FURIA have been playing super well. Stage 3 went 3-0. They played some decent opponents, MongolZ, Aurora, and then they 2-0'd VP, which this match wasn't even close. Everybody on FURIA is playing very good. Don't forget, this FURIA roster just came together, what was it, 2 months ago? So this new international roster now has to speak English. So Kesrato, Yuri, Molodoi, who's learning English, this is a huge culture shock to them. So each game and as time progresses, FURIA is just becoming a better team with this aspect. And then this is Pain's pathway to get here. You can see that they went down pretty bad against Spirit and G2, starting 0-2, but then they clawed their way back, but their opposition wasn't as good. So we've had Namiga, 3D Max, and VP. That VP game came down to the wire last round. They had a 10-2 lead and almost lost that match. The other factor that leads into this matchup is stage experience. I don't think Pain Gaming has any stage experience. Correct me if I'm wrong. Meanwhile, we know FURIA players have a bunch of it, and I think that is going to help them out a lot, and I think FURIA is going to 2-0 Pain. The other storyline you're going to hear about this matchup is this picture where Snow took a picture with Fallen, his idol, 7 to 8 years ago, and now 7 to 8 years later, he gets to play him in a major playoff match. How cool is that? The next game is FaZe versus MongolZ. FaZe met MongolZ in Stage 3, where they 2-0'd them with Simple playing one of his best games ever. FaZe Clan on stage now in the playoffs is going to be a whole different beast. So they're also going to be a huge crowd favorite. Elish being from America, Simple, Kerrigan, Rain, crowd favorites. Meanwhile, on the other hand, MongolZ, we know how they struggle on stage, so this is going to be, I feel like, another 2-0 for FaZe Clan. The next quarterfinals is NAVI versus Vitality. This is the first time that these two teams meet. Let's talk about NAVI. So they went 3-1 in Stage 3, but there were some weaknesses. First off, picking Train against Spirit, which is a surprise pick, they only got one round on the T side, failed them horribly. And then when Navi played G2, they made so many mistakes. G2 had multiple match points that they weren't able to close, so it was not looking good at all for Navi. And then their opponents Vitality, who had their win streak broken by Legacy in that best of 1, so all that pressure and talk is off now, so they don't have to worry about that. They can just play their own game. And since then, they dominated their opponents, Namiga, 3D Max, and VP. They are looking in major winning form right now. Let's do the vetoes. So Navi is most likely going to ban Train. They're not going to float it because Vitality's Train is way too good. And then Vitality permabans Ancient. Navi is most likely going to pick Mirage. Vitality picks Dust 2. And third map, I'm going to guess, is Inferno. With that being said, Vitality is either going to 2-1 or 2-0 Navi. I think Navi does have a chance of Mirage, but the other two maps I don't see happening. This might be the end of this Navi roster, guys. Vitality's going to move on. Next matchup is Spirit Mouz. This is going to be a banger. Both teams have a history against each other, and Mouz is one of those teams that Spirit has a hard time dealing with. Spirit finished 3-0 in stage 3, and that is behind Donk, of course. He is playing super well, had one of the highest ratings in stage 3. And then their opponents Mouz had a horrible start in stage 3, going down 0-2, losing to likes of VP and also FaZe, but they clawed back against Liquid. But that Liquid game on that last map, Mirage, Liquid had multiple chances to close it out, but they weren't able to do it. Mouz then knocked out Aurora, and then to qualify for playoffs, they had to play a hot Legacy, which in maps 2 and 3, they went down bad. So Legacy had like 9-3 first halves. However, they felt too much pressure and couldn't close it out. Mouz, some would say, did get lucky to get in this position because Legacy should have beaten Mouz. But here we are. So let's talk about the matchup between Spirit and Mouz. These two teams met twice during the season, with Mouz taking both matchups, but both matchups came down to map 3, like overtimes, and super close to the last round. This matchup relies on two players. Magix, first off, played horrible in their 2 meetings against Mouz, and we know how much of a game changer he could be. So when Spirit played Mouz back in Shanghai in the playoffs, Magix played lights out, and he also played lights out throughout that whole playoff run to help them win that major. And then secondly, Spinks. Spinks also did not play well against Spirit in their 2 matchups. We know how much of an impact a player like Spinks can have in the server too. Don't count Mouz out against Spirit in this matchup. I know many people will because of how they looked in stage 3, but Mouz has that history against Team Spirit and beating them constantly. They know how to play against them. I'm choosing Spirit to beat Mouz to move on. I wouldn't be surprised if Mouz won this matchup. It's okay if we get the Spirit Mouz game wrong because we just need to get 2 of the quarterfinals correct, and I'm pretty convinced that these other 3 games I predicted right. Copium. The first semifinals is FURIA versus FaZe Clan, and these two teams have not met against each other in this current season. FURIA is already at a disadvantage against FaZe Clan because FaZe Clan permabans Train, and FURIA's best map is Train, so Train is not going to be played in this matchup. I'm choosing playoff stage FaZe to beat FURIA. I think that with them dominating MongolZ in the quarterfinals, they're going to continue with that confidence and momentum, and they're going to beat FURIA to make it to the grand finals. The next semifinals is Vitality and Team Spirit. Vitality are up 3-0 in this current season against Team Spirit, and Rops is going to get his sweet revenge on Team Spirit here after Spirit knocking out FaZe in that grand finals in Shanghai. Now, the issue with Spirit is that they don't have that consistent third fragger, so that is going to come into play here. Vitality is going to beat them, and then I feel like Team Spirit is going to be looking at off-season moves to get that third fragger to help out Donk and Shiro. So Vitality is going to beat Spirit, continue their run here to the grand finals. And then we're on to the finals of the Blast Awesome Major between FaZe Clan and Vitality. Simple versus ZywOo. This is going to feed generations. This is going to break numbers. The viewership is going to be insane for this matchup. I am so hyped. Vitality are huge favorites to win this whole major, right guys? But there's a chance where FaZe can beat Vitality. So if we think back to I Am Dallas 2024 when Vitality was in the grand finals against G2 with a Stewie stand-in, the crowd was in huge favorable of G2, cheering for them, giving them a lot of support, and that's how G2 or One Way was able to upset Vitality when they were huge underdogs against them. And I'm seeing that here in the same similar situation with that crowd support for FaZe Clan against Vitality in the grand finals. Am I choosing FaZe? No, sorry. I'm picking Vitality. This is their major to win. They've won all the tournaments. I think they won 6 tournaments or 7 tournaments in a row now. They need to close this with a major win. Yanko said it in an interview where this season is not going to matter for what Vitality did with all those tournament wins if they can't close it out here. So Vitality is going to be your Blast Austin Major. This is going to be a banger final. What do you guys think about my picks? What upsets do you think will happen? Let me know down below in the comments. I'll be at the Austin Major, so I'll see y'all there. Come up to me, say hi. Let's hope we have a great major playoffs.